On September 11, 2001, terrorists of the Islamic extreme group Al-Qaeda hijacked 4 airliners and carried out a suicide attack targeting the United States. 2 of the planes crashed into the Twin Towers, 1 into the Pentagon, and 1 fell in Pennsylvania. Over 3,000 people were killed that day on September 11, 2001. In response to the attacks on the Twin Towers, President George Bush induced a military campaign known as the War on Terrorism. Not all friends and family members of the victims supported the United States decision. They chose to honor their loved ones who perished in 9/11 by encouraging the development of peaceful communities and embracing alternatives to hatred and violence. They wanted to ensure that violent actions were not done in revenge, in the names of their loved ones. They did not want to grieve to justify the Americans' attacks in Afghanistan. Craig Amundsen was an enlisted Army specialist, lost his life that day in the Pentagon. He left behind 2 young children and his wife, Amber. After the attacks, Amber called for peace and refused to support the 2001 war in Afghanistan. She wrote a letter to the Chicago Tribune on September 25th, 2001. I'm going to read you that letter here in a minute. In 2002, she went on and founded the September 11th Families for Peaceful Tomorrows. It's an organization that's opposed to the American military campaign in Afghanistan and created by family members of some of the victims from September 11th. I'm going to read you the letter that she wrote to the Tribune now, and it's in regards to her husband. My husband, Craig Scott Amundsen, of the U.S. Army, lost his life in the line of duty at the Pentagon on September 11th, as the world looked on in horror and disbelief. Losing my 28-year-old husband and father of our 2 young children is a terrible and painful experience. I have heard rhetorics by some Americans, including many of our nation's leaders, who advise a heavy dose of revenge and punishment. To those leaders, I would like to make clear that my family and I take no comfort in your words of rage. If you choose to respond to this incomprehensible brutality by perpetuating violence against other innocent human beings, you may not do so in the name of justice for my husband. Craig would not have wanted a violent response to avenge his death, and I cannot see how good can come out of it. We cannot solve violence with violence. Gandhi said, "An eye for an eye only makes the world go blind." I call on our nation's leaders to find the courage to respond to this incomprehensible tragedy by breaking the cycle of violence. I call on them to marshal this great nation's skills and resources to lead a worldwide dialogue on freedom and terror and hate. On freedom from terror and hate. Thank you.